the fact that it's a huge aha moment that, oh my gosh, like 75% of somebody's performance is really attributable to me, right? So even if expectations were clear in the before time, about a year and a half or 2 years ago, they aren't now. We sent everybody home, it's been, challenging and fun for all of us, fun in some ways, not fun in others. But even just expectations around to be on camera or not, right? Some people feel a little embarrassed about the background of their home or whatever, and school kids doing school now, 3 feet away from me doing my work. So having that opportunity to recalibrate, reset, and clarify what is expected, how will we work together as a team, and how are we going to work together, just myself, manager to direct report, is critically important. So here are some questions that I'm seeing our leaders these days ask themselves, and I just offer them to you as rhetorical questions, but things to think about. What can I do to help my employees become fully productive in this period of turbulence? We are still in turbulence. We humans seek equilibrium. We seek routine, and when those routines are disrupted, we're seeing it now with, the remote work became routine, and now everybody's being expected to go back to work, and we're seeing a huge backlash to that, even because all kinds of reasons, but it's really that shift and change that we humans just are, we don't like it thrown upon us. Do I need to clarify expectations as things adjust and change once again? And the answer is yes. What information or resources will they need? How do I keep them connected, working in their new environment? Hybrid work is going to be the next new normal. Some people working remotely, some people working in the physical location, and yet we are part of the same team. That has always been a challenge for managers who've had hybrid teams, but more of us than ever who've never had experience with that are having to think about, how do I do that? How do I do that well? How do I coach them as they make this transition? And what do I need to do to create a positive work environment where they can thrive and we meet or exceed expectations? So I assume that's partly why you're here today, is to answer for yourself and for your team some of these questions. This model is, again, just a framework, but I've found that so it's something I created many years ago because I would be talking with executives who are not, they're not schooled in this stuff. And I needed something simple to sort of talk about alignment and how you take a whole organization and the elements that we look at in an organization to create a high-performing organization. Today, we're really going to be focused on the outside of the model. I have one client that calls this the bubble chart. I liked it. I'm a little bit of a scientist at heart, so I've always thought of it more as like an atom with, the nucleus and then the atoms kind of spinning around it if it were a truly active model. But in the middle are really core elements that are critical to foundational pieces to an organization. We probably don't have time to go through all of them, but hopefully it's mostly pretty intuitive to you. The one thing that in the middle of the model that isn't for most people is the match. And long time ago, I, really, as I started scratching my head, trying to solve for why some people are able to perform in the same work environment, same culture, same leader and manager, and others don't perform, this notion of job match became really apparent to me. And Kim and I, that's really how she and I became acquainted, is we use a tool, an assessment tool called the Profile XT or PXT Select, that goes really deep into the total person, looking at their cognitive ability, their core personality, and their occupational interests. So we can get at, you know, how that total match. So you, and then you assess the job. So what's the cognitive requirements of the job? What are the core personality requirements of the job and the organizational culture? And what are the motivations, or what are the types of occupational interests that are going to be a good fit in this type of role? So there's, the job has a personality, if you want to think about it that way, and my own interests have a personality, and do those things match well? So that's the least intuitive piece of that core. And then from the outside, what we're dealing with today, starting at the upper left, is, you know, the goal setting. That's what I call the what's, right? And a lot of people stop there. They think, oh, goals, we've got clear goals. That's where expectations are clear. Not so much. The goal, the what's are the targets. What are we trying to achieve? And usually those are pretty quantitative. Definitely those are outcomes and results focused. But what's missing is, when we go to the right side of the model, are expectations, which are the hows. And every organization may define them differently, which is, there's no right or wrong, but the hows at a company like Nordstrom that is so focused on having an awesome customer experience, you need to, you know, you can't just trust that, oh, we hire nice people and they're going to just know how to delight the customer. So it's really important to get those things out of our head, because that's what the other thing I find is, we walk around as managers and we are like, I'm really clear. I know what I'm looking for in terms of how people operate. But it's the actual act of sitting down and talking with your employee about them, and making sure that you have a clarity together and agreement together that can I do this? Will I do this? Absolutely, kind of thing. And then as we go through the model, you know, from there, if we do a great job of the front loading, I call it front loading the system with the what's in the hows, it makes it easier for us as managers to give continuous feedback. Hey, you did a great job with the blah, you know, the thing that we just talked about 2 weeks ago. You can give great recognition. We can provide development opportunities. The appraisal circle, I'll just say, point it out real quickly to you, you may notice is a little bit smaller than the other circles. I wanted to leave that completely off of this model. But as I was testing this model out with people, I'd ask managers, you know, I'm a big, I love Edwards Deming, and I've got somebody in the weight room, so I'll let him in. Edwards Deming, and he's kind of the father of TQM, Total Quality Management, or lean manufacturing. And he was a big, you know, it's appraisals, annual appraisal is a complete waste of time. Billions of dollars are wasted and nobody benefits from them, and they're demotivating. So I would ask managers, should we go do away with appraisals? And they'd say, yes, absolutely, love it. That would be, oh, it's such a time suck. It's such an administrative piece of whatever. But then I'd ask employees, and, you know, they'd be like, no, don't get rid of them. And I'm like, why not? Don't you hate them? Well, kind of. Well, why would you want the annual review then? It's the only report card that I get. It's the only information I get. So I'm a big fan, and until the day comes when we are doing continuous feedback and coaching, when we're doing that bubble in a huge way, like constantly and people know where they stand, then yeah, I think we can get rid of appraisals. Until then, employees are dying for at least some feedback once a year. And I hope that's not what any of you are doing. So, rhetorical question, I think, who is really to blame for increasing